Everyone's been saying the US market is so strong. Unemployment is so low. Everything is great. And yet there are dozens of you who are sending me emails saying I have applied for 6 to 8 months straight and gotten no responses. Worse than that, I don't know if you guys saw what happened in the news this week, but the US Bureau of Labor Statistics just published a 400,000 job revision. So what happened? Are we being lied to? Is this politics? Is what you're experiencing crazy? Is the government going through a mental breakdown? Because someone has to be wrong. Two things cannot be right. You cannot be out of a job for 8 months, apply 2,000 positions, and at the same time, the job market is strong. That makes no sense. So what is actually happening in today's job market in August of 2025? Hi, my name is Shirley. I spend my time consulting on business strategies. I spend about $100 million on behalf of some of the largest corporations that you know. And this is affecting everything. And it's going to affect you today, but it has already been affecting you for the past couple of months. And you just know it. You know it. So let's talk about what's actually going on. And my ultimate goal on this channel is to give you the information in a straightforward way so that you're actually well prepared for what's going on. As an upcoming mom, I also want to make sure that I'm giving moms the information so that they can make the best decisions for their families. Here's the reality. Earlier this year, January, February, March, we all heard the same thing. Soft landing accomplished, right? Soft landing has been achieved. Job market is strong. Everything is great. The unemployment's under 4.1%, which is amazing. But then boom, the US of Labor Statistics quietly revises their numbers and the last 3 months are affected. April, May, June, and maybe July. And when you zoom out, the total numbers that were affected were 400,000. Now, here's a chart. You can see the downfall in the job market. It looks scary. It looks insane. The reality is this is not a rounding error. It's a shift in everything we thought we knew about what was happening in the US economy. On top of that, you already know truths we're not looking at when we look at the simple chart. Number one, we're seeing slowing job growth. Sectors like transportation, warehousing, manufacturing. Jobs are slowly disappearing, going completely away, being transferred overseas, or just not needed because people aren't using those systems as much. Classic early indicator of recession. ADP and private data are showing a slow in corporate spending and a slow in hiring. Couple this with the amount of ghost jobs out there, you have a situation where people are not getting hired for months at a time. Now, we also have to think about this 4.1% number, right? And when we compare this to actual labor participation has been down since COVID, with only 62% of all eligible workforce participating in the labor market. Prime age men are exiting the workforce, and the number of people that are underemployed keeps rising, meaning, yes, there are people who have a job and are a positive number in this 4.1% number. But the reality is when you zoom out and you take a look at it, a lot of those people are underemployed, taking part-time job, Ubers, etc., as their main source of income, still depending on a ton of welfare. Wages so far have only been up nominally around 3.9%. And realistically, inflation has been eating it all for the past couple of years. You add in a drop in productivity and the numbers are starting to look real shifty. Job openings are now at the lowest that they've been since 2021. And people resigning, that's back down to 2.1%. So if you're looking to be in a company, there's not as many open positions as there were a couple of years ago, just because people aren't as confident resigning. And what we're seeing is hiring freezes, job offers that have been extended and then revoked. And this push towards automation. In fact, I saw something the other day that was a little bit crazy. For one of the companies, and I'll post it here if I can find it, the CEO said, in order to justify a new position, you need to explain how we cannot automate this job first. So the reality is this isn't just a normal cool down of the market. This is structural. Many older workers who left during COVID or have been laid off since are having a really hard time finding a job. Many young people are having a hard time getting access into a job because there's so many people like you and I who have a ton of experience, are the right age range, and because of the lack of jobs, are accepting jobs that are under our title or our pay cuts, leaving the younger people out of a job. On top of that, contract work for a lot of companies is replacing full-time positions. So while high skill workers are doing fine, middle skill and lower skill workers are having to really work for it. What do we call this when it comes to economy? A low quality recovery. Now, these revisions aren't just bureaucratic. It's not just about how it affects you, but it also affects other things like how much we're going to be spending, how much you're willing to spend, because it could affect the federal interest rate cut. If the Fed thinks the job market is stronger than it needs to be, so for the past couple of months, even though inflation has been slowly trending downhill, the Fed is saying inflation is not where we want it to be, which is 2%. And the job market is still very strong. So we are not going to cut the federal interest rate. Well, that's no longer the case. The reality is we need better forecasting and we need more attention to the details. And the underreported second tier metrics like underemployment, the gig market, contract work, etc. To address a labor market like this, we're going to need an entire shift. We're going to need to reskill workers like people who work in logistics and retail. We're going to need to do something about the care infrastructure that is hurting so many families. Like, for example, childcare. How do you go back to the market when sometimes it's more expensive to use childcare than it is to just stay home? And the reality is there's a real conversation we need to have about the fact that a lot of these companies are hiring you as a gig worker or contract worker, but treating you like a full-time employee who has to request time off, has to request vacation days, but you're not getting the benefits. You're not getting the 401k. You're not getting the health insurance. You're not getting the benefits that comes from full-time employment. And you're also not getting the protections. So what's happening is you're the first to go. Bottom line is low unemployment rate is not the full story. Real wages, job quality, participation rates, that all needs to be taken into account. Now, here's the thing, and here's what you can do about it, because ultimately, this is about positioning you in a much better, stronger place. Understanding that having one resume for all of your jobs no longer works. They're getting a better bang for their buck. Companies are. So it is important that you change your titles if you need to. If you were really doing project management work, but they had you as an account manager, change your title to what you were actually doing. If you were really moving projects forward, make sure that you have bulleted points underneath that shows your productivity so that the company knows that you're a real solution and that they can't just automate your job away, because that is the alternative and that is their first decision right now. Understand that when you're going into interviews, you've got to solve real problems. You've got to be able to share with them how you are the solution that they've been looking for, because otherwise it's just as easy to replace you. If you're not a solution and you're not going to keep costs low and profit high, this is not the right time to hire. Unfortunately, it is a numbers game. Get out of LinkedIn. There's so many ghost jobs in there. And that is a real problem because it is hurting you from actually finding a real job. So look at independent jobs. Google, say jobs in XYZ, and more than anything, network. Most people that are getting hired right now are getting hired based on referrals and not based on a cold email or a cold resume. Get out of your home and go network for a job. That is your number one way to actually getting hired in this economy. And yeah, fill your time with contract work and labor. A lot of companies are taking the easy way out, but don't rely on these as your full-time income because it can be taken away just as easily as it was given to you. If you have any questions, put them down below. But more than that, let's have a real conversation about what's really going on. Because ultimately, I think a lot of people out in the job market who've been doing this for months saying, I don't know what else to do. I'm scratching my head. Like the news is lying to me. So-and-so is lying to me. People are saying this is so much better. People are saying we're winning. People are saying, we're going to get the dough check and the tariff check and whatever. And I'm at my wit's end. I think there's this real loneliness epidemic that is happening. You feel like you're crazy. You're not crazy. You're seeing it for what it actually is happening. So take a step back. Understand that your feelings are real. There are things you can do to make them better, but this is really happening and we really need to take a hard look at what the whole situation is so you can place yourself in a better position. If you like this video, if you like the way that this is broken down, please put a comment down below. I'd love to make more videos like this so we can have real conversations because some of these conversations are straight up BS. Happy to help, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.